Good evening to all our viewers on TV4. Welcome to another episode of Let We Talk. I'm your host, Winston Pointy Brown, and this evening, once again, we'll be talking pan. This time, we are looking at the development of the young arranger, if they are taking the art of arranging for pan to the next level, and of course, if the time has come to pass the torch on to the young arrangers. Before I introduce my guests in studio, just like to let you know that we are streaming live at www.facebook.com/RTV4 and gisltd.tt/TV-4. You can also follow us on Twitter at RTV4, #LetWeTalk. And of course, when you want to get interactive with us, our numbers are 675-8747 and 675-8749. So let me go over to introduce my guests. This evening, I have with me a young arranger who has made his name and stamped his name on the books of panorama arrangement, playing pan, and of course arranging in the Caribbean and of course up in the USA. He doesn't know I know that, right? I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Sion Gomez. Sion.
Good evening. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago.
And of course, on the set too, we have a young person who I'll describe as the drill master for the Bird Songs Youth Steel Orchestra, Miss Nisha Smith. Good evening to you, Nisha.
Good evening.
And of course, the Vice President, no introduction to him, the Vice President of Pan Trinbago, my good friend, Mr. Brian Surratt. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening, Mr. Brown. Good evening, Pointy. Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Good evening, everyone.
Let's start off with Sion. Sion Gomez is a name well known in the Pan fraternity. And of course, a lot of people really don't know about Sion Gomez. Who really is Sion Gomez? Well, I know you from Diego Martin, and a lot of people know that. And you stepped from your father, who used to play with Phase 2. So you continue from there.
Well, Sion really began in Pan at age 8, 9, somewhere around there. And literally came to the ranks. Junior festivals, junior panoramas, started playing Phase 2, went away, did 2 degrees, a bachelor degree and a master's, and came back home and started working with different steel bands here in Trinidad and Tobago. My main goal when it comes to pan is really trying to fly the flag and see how far I can help push and give a progression to the instrument.
You're achieving that so far?
It's coming along.
Well, I know you did some work in St. Vincent.
Yes, I was invited to work with the Sandhill Euphonium Steel Orchestra in St. Vincent, and I've been there for the last 7 years.
Making a hat trick here. I think you had about 3 panorama titles under your belt in St. Vincent.
6.
6?
So I think
you're spreading it in the Caribbean.
Well, yeah. It's more of a development kind of thing, what my knowledge, the way I do things, I would try to pass on to others. So even working with the band in St. Vincent, you always try to show them your way. If they take it and they work with it, well, fine. But, even taking it and working with it, they will add their own flavor to it, So, in a way, it's me kind of giving back again, okay. And helping to build the process of building. Yeah.
Nisha, you're an arranger. What you are? Tell us something about you.
I am not an arranger. I am a panist. I am a music tutor, and I am also the Birdsong Academy manager. Well, that was for the junior panorama effort.
How you end up being the drill master?
Well, I was in charge of the practices, so the drill master.
You know, the drill masters are very important
Yes.
person in the band.
Yeah.
Normally when they Sion put down his music. Sion, you do drilling for yourself?
Somewhat, but I also have a drill master.
Yes, because it's not so healthy in that sense. Eh?
Well, it is important to have drill master where you lay low at the back to listen to what is happening.
Yes,
you know?
and that person has to be
that person has to understand what is
what's happening with the arranger.
Exactly.
So that's a serious person in the band.
Yeah, the arrangers and myself, we will listen every day. We came every single day from Sunday to Sunday, and we had that mesh. Even when Nicholas Jones, he was the arranger, and as well as Avias Canterbury, when they finish the music, they will email it to me. So I will hear it, I'll listen to it at work, and I will listen to it, and I'll say, okay, I know this part, I know this stops, and
that's
this
how you
run.
dissect the music?
Yeah. So obviously, because you have to know the music before you go to, not arrange, but help the children understand and help them to know how it's supposed to be played. So
There's a serious person here, a drill master. Now, a drill master could move away some of your ideas and for you to bring in new ideas because of the way you drill the band.
yeah, well, I think there was an understanding and there was enough. Like they allowed say, well, you know what, Nisha, you could put in a dance move here, and you could, it wasn't a tight-knit relationship. It was more of, you go ahead. You see how you interpret it. You put in this step, this dance, this duck, this strip,
I remember doing an interview with you for the school panorama, and I told you something, and I'm not ashamed to say it again, that the way you had the Birdsong Youth Steel Orchestra, they should have you for the senior band.
That is not within my jurisdiction. So.
Brian, good afternoon. Good evening, Brian. How are things?
I'm good.
Brian, you're old school
Yes.
person in this thing. You've been around some good years. Tell us about you, because a lot of people may not know of Brian Surratt.
Okay. Well, I first ventured into Pania to play at age 13. It was in Mason Street in Martin. It was a band that was called Modern Harps, which really was meritones. My older brother, he would be playing. I had uncles who was involved in steel band before. And my older brother started to play, and I suppose I followed him in the panyard, as my brothers after me also did.
Your family too were in Surrey?
Pumpkin Vine. Yes.
and Anselm and Ephraim.
And Ephraim.
I played some music with them at Solo Hammer Nights.
Right. And I going to school at Fatima. I met, Ray Holman was one of my teachers in school. And Clarky from Starlift, he left St. Mary's and came to Fatima. And they influenced me to come to Starlift. So I went to Starlift in 1969. And I played in Starlift for about 3 years, and then after 71 Panorama, we decided to restart Meritones, and I played there until about 1991-92. And after that, well, I didn't play Panorama anymore. I just continued to play. In between that time, even though I was interested in arranging, we had arrangers, but I found myself more having to deal with the administration of the band. So,
and that followed you on
that followed me on to
being the vice president.
Yes.
You're more administrator than player.
Well, actually, in 72, I did enter in the solo competition, the 10th anniversary of the Steel Band Music Festival, 10th anniversary of independence, and I competed as a soloist. I made the finals. That's the festival that Jit Samaru won his solo competition. Yeah, I was a finalist in that competition, and at the time I was just at the time I was really more in love with the music. So what I did for the competition was that I would go to, there was a place on Richmond Street at the time used to sell music scores. So I was teaching myself music, so I bought music scores, and at the preliminary I played one piece, and at the finals I played another piece. I just bought another score, learned another piece, and went to play it. So winning wasn't important to me then, it was the music. So I was really more interested in the music
than,
but the administration is what followed me around. So
you're still,
here I am today.
Still administering.
Yes.
Sion, let's go into the meat of today's topic of the arrangers, the young arrangers. What's the beginning? What age do you think these young arrangers start on the stint? What the beginning of their stint? How like you? How you began this whole thing?
I actually got a great opportunity where I was asked by the primary school that I went to work with the kids, teach them to play pan. So I was in secondary school, and I went back to the primary school on a Friday evening, and taught them how to play the pan, the techniques, taught them a couple of tunes and stuff like that. And that's where my arranging stint started.
You was musically inclined all that time? Or
Yeah. I was already into music. Well, formal music theory, piano exams, stuff like that. But pan always caught my ear, no matter where I heard it. I would focus direct my focus. And working with the primary school actually got me, into it. I started to like it, and I was admiring people like Jit, Boogsy Sharp, and I just went with it. When I finished secondary school, I had to make a decision because I was good at architecture and I was good at music. So it was either John D or Yui. I went and I signed up both places, but I didn't know which one I was going to yet.
We won't call first, you went?
No, well, actually, I had to make a decision.
Okay.
And my parents left it up to me to make a decision. I made a decision and I ended up in Yui. So I did a certificate course in Yui, in Pan. And from there, I went to NIU, where I did my first degree, and later on my master's. So the arranging, well, through all that time, the arranging just developed. When I went to NIU, I was given the opportunity to do songs with the band. And the deeper you delve into the music, is the more you understand the arranging. I mean, doing it every day gets you to understand certain things. And I came back home. I got another opportunity with song specialist. Richard Photo.
Richard, yeah.
Richard Photo came to NIU and he heard one of my arrangements. And he asked me to come and do some music with his band. And through that, I got the opportunity to arrange with the band.
As a young person, was it difficult for people to accept you as an arranger?
At first it was.
Because with all these big name arrangers outside, this young person coming to say, look, hey,
at first it was. I mean, I got comments like, you know, born boy, you don't even know how to get used to strum long time. I mean, yeah, but at the same time, the way I dealt with that was, I know born, so I can't tell you what to play, all right. So when I finished do everything around the band, I was going to count 4 to start. And the same guy stopped me. He didn't give me no music. I said, but you know the part's supposed to play. You know what's supposed to play, so go ahead. And then, well, from that, he himself gave me a lot more respect. Up to today, me and he is good friends.
Who is that fella?
Nah, he's that fella.
No, the young arranger, you had any stint in doing any little bit of arranging for the youth steel orchestra?
I started doing some arranging for CXC Music. So I know about arranging, I know the logistics of it. But for the Birdsong Academy, their job was to arrange. But if they say, Nisha, how you find this song, I'll always give an input.
Oh, you get involved in getting the notes right and stuff.
Yeah,
and changing
this
parts.
part real fancy, play it twice, and I'll be like, play it twice.
An advisor.
Yeah.
Sion, back to you. Why you're in the hot seat? The reason why you're in the hot seat is because young arrangers trying their hands now. Is it the way that the development of the young arranger now is different from when in say like in Brian days and in my days, and I would go back to solo hammer nights. Well, as a little guy, I did not know if Earl Rodney had all these qualifications in music, and the young folks now are qualifying themselves.
That's right.
How the big bands not accepting these young arrangers?
Well, I mean, it's not that they're not accepting them.
They ain't ready yet.
It's more that the big bands, they already have, I mean, when you have masters like Len Boogsy Sharp, Leon Smooth Edwards,
and I'll dive in this. You see, you're calling big names. You took part in the, what category you arrange? Probably.
Medium and large.
Medium and large. What your placings in the medium, any one of those big name arrangers got a whipping from you?
Yes.
All right. So you that's where your names start to come up, because Sion Gomez, and I just calling this name loosely, beat Len Boogsy Sharp,
right,
in his category.
Yeah, but you see, Panorama is not just about the name. And I mean, I have learned this over the years. Panorama really has to do with an association, arranger, steel band, instruments, management, everything. And I mean, when you meet Len Boogsy Sharp with Phase 2 or Leon Smooth Edwards with All Stars, I mean, that combination alone is a force.
Sticks fear in you? It puts fear in you?
No, it doesn't stick fear. But what I'm saying is, the years that these fellas spent with these bands, that association, the players understand the arranger. It's the same thing with me and Buccaneers. They understand me.
Well, I know
them.
You have grown with Buccaneers, because
right.
I could remember the first interview I did with you, and I think you all placed somewhere down the line.
Fourth.
And the next year.
Second.
And the next year.
Second.
And you was doing all the things that big name arrangers.
I think that came from the little bit of experience I had before that time. Right? I really had the opportunity to try, especially when I was at NIU. I spent a lot of time analyzing the music of the steel bands. So when I came home, it was easy to fall in, you know. So linking with Buccaneers and developing that process, I knew what had to happen, and they gave me the leeway to make it happen. So I mean, it was like a natural wheel, and it's the same thing happens with Boogsy and Phase 2, Smooth and All Stars, Pelham and Exodus. It's a natural rotation. It's a natural machine, just moving, you know. And after, when you have that kind of association as an arranger with a steel band, I mean, you can do anything and you will get results.
But then in comes the judges, because
that's something different.
So the relationship, how that you doing all this good work, the players love it, and now the judge come and say, nah, this ain't songing good. Hey, Brian? You ain't songing good, Brian.
But you know what? When the judges say, nah, and the people say, yeah, which one stands out?
You know, I have a different perspective, because I think with the older and the younger, I think the older people, they grew up, they remember running away to go in the pan yard to go play, or sneaking out to go and play pan. And they took their time, and it was developed after a certain amount of years. While students now, one semester they learn to tune. One semester they learn how to arrange. One semester they learn how to compose. And within 3 years, what took the elders like their lifetime to learn, we learned in 3 years. And they want to come and take this from us now.
That's the development.
Yeah, that's my perspective, how I see. So I could understand how we will have a little look down, a little competition going on between the older and the younger.
Well, if you're just joining us, we're talking pan on Levy Talk. What we're going to do, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to look at some of the young arrangers in the pan world. Welcome back to our discussion here this evening on Levy Talk. And of course, we're speaking with Sion Gomez, Miss Nisha Smith, and Vice President Brian Surratt. We were discussing, before we go, of the young arranger and the development. Nisha said something. And what do you think, Brian, the development of these young arrangers coming up?
No, well, I mean, we have always had young arrangers, and it's good for the movement that we continue to have young arrangers, that young arrangers develop. Children are born in Trinidad and Tobago every day. There's a musical nation with musical talent. We have to try to ensure that we develop it, we harness it and develop it. However, arranging is not simply knowing music and learning all the theories and all. Arranging is much more than that. Arranging, you must have a sense of the music, a sense of the piece, and be able to express that in a particular way. Let me give you a little example. I'll call one of the masters, Clive Bradley. What a lot of people don't know, one of the things that Clive Bradley used to do, as good as he was, I mean, he was into music I know him from small, and he was, as long as I've known him, he's been into music, long before he came on the panorama scene and the pan scene. And what he would do, years ago there was, in Strand and Globe, there was Late Show.
Late Show, yeah.
Right. Bradley would go to Late Show, not to watch the movie, He would go to listen to the music and look at how the music responds to what is on the screen, so that he's looking at the chords and the various things that musicians use
to paint a picture.
To paint a picture, yeah. Exactly. So that arranging is all of that. And when you, as a young arranger, you learn the theories and that's the basics. And then as you grow older and you begin to get experience, as Sion was saying just now, he has learned now how to voice, so that even from the time he has a part in his head, he knows what section he's going to put on that voice, right? The various voices in a steel band. So as an arranger develops, they must understand voicing, and voicing as it relates to the pan, not voicing as it relates to a brass band or another kind of instrument.
And Sion, you made mention of that during the break, that you can just put a note now before. That comes with what?
Practice.
The practice, the experience, yeah. Or the knowledge of the
well, it goes hand in hand. When you start off, you know music, you know what C songs like, you know what A songs like, but you know what it sounds like on the pan, you know what it sounds like on the piano. However, sometimes you might create a line, and you might put it on the tenor pan, and it didn't hit you like it's supposed to hit, and then you put it in the middle pans, and it gives you a totally different feel. After doing that for a while, you kind of understand.
Developing the art of arranging.
Right.
Beautiful. So that means the young folks are ready to receive the torch, Brian, you think so?
Some of them are.
Some of them are.
And they continue to grow. Once they continue to listen and analyze the music that they hear around them, some of them are doing, Sion is doing very well. There are one or two others that do on. Some of those young guys doing very well. Pretty soon they will be the headliners. And we'll have other young ones coming up to take their place.
No, Bugsy is my good friend, so I'll use him. Len, no problem, right? I'm using him. Right. You think Len Bugsy Sharp will say, okay, I think cool. Let me pass the baton. Let me pass on the torch.
He doesn't really have to. He doesn't have to say that he's done. Bugsy will always be respected for who he is, the kind of music he has produced. Bugsy has given way to the steel band through his music, through his talents, through his gifts, right? So, somebody like Bugsy, as a matter of fact, through the years, you find music evolving. Bugsy evolves with the music, and he's going.
What do you think? Think it's time to rack up and hand?
Obviously, with everything, you need experience. So, as what Sion's saying, that with the voicing, because I saw that firsthand with the younger arrangers, they will put it down and they will have to hear it, where he might know from in his mind how it will sound and where it will sound and where it will blend and where it will mesh, right? The young arranger will have to put it down and be like, wait, nah, and then take time now and then change it over. Say, okay, guitars, you play that instead of the double tenors, you know?
It should have a gradual passing on. You might just touch piece of the torch and then next year you touch. And you know, some of the young arrangers who have shown some class and development, people like Ahmed Samaru, and we have Arden Herbert, K2.
I mean, these guys, I have a lot of respect for Amrit. Amrit, he's Samaru, you know, right on the jit, and he came. I don't think there was a hiccup. He just came in and blended in, you know. Arden's another. When we were back in the junior panorama days, Arden was a headliner in terms of the soloists, you know. So, I mean, these guys always had their thing going.
And of course, they're doing the same thing that you're doing too.
Exactly.
They're getting themselves qualified.
Exactly.
You know, the Karim Browns and
everybody is qualified now.
Johan Popwell, who was on the program last Tuesday, he has a Bachelor of Music.
That's the norm now, and that's the direction we need to go. These days, you're going to find a lot of, not just panists, but a lot of people educating themselves at the tertiary level. Right? Right now, I'm an instructor at UTT, and I deal with a lot of panists in the program. And they tell you, yeah, they want to arrange and they want to do this and they want to do that. They practice every day, and they're given opportunities to do music on the ensemble level, stuff like that, and the solos level. And when you hear the things that they're doing, I mean, sometimes we don't even think about the things they're doing, you know. So, I mean, really and truly, all the young arrangers need is opportunity. And they're creating the opportunity by educating themselves.
Okay, and as you say, the opportunity, I think that you took the opportunity this year to do some composing as a young arranger.
I did.
Out of the box.
I did.
Tell us something about that. How
it was a new experience for me.
What goes into it? What goes into it?
I wouldn't call myself a composer.
But on the banner say composed by.
I understand that.
Sion Gomez, that's what the banner said.
And I must say, Mark Luquan, over the years, I've played a lot of his music. I understood his music. So, together with Mark Luquan, we came up with Out of the Box. And for me, it was a really dynamic experience, because I not only saw an idea develop into a fruit, but I kind of got firsthand the whole development of putting a tune together.
Nisha, you ever tried in the composing scene in your little corner? Because the way you speak, that you're in a little corner in the musical business. You didn't expose yourself as yet. You ever tried the composing business?
Music it's like second nature to me. It's like it's a hobby, it's a passion. But my first love is really geography. But I know there's also people that are diverse like that. They want to have music at the side, but not like straightforward music. But in terms of composing, yeah, I dabble a bit in composing.
How do you think, Brian, that when a young arranger composes a piece, how do you get the big bands to play it? How you feel that? And look, I want to stop hitting Bugsy. let me go. So Sion composed a song. How it went out there for a band like, let's go to the school category, St. Francois Girls took your song out of the box and played it. How?
A young arranger like Sion and the younger guys, they have a greater chance of their music being played in the school panorama, let's say, because the younger arrangers in the schools, there's the next generation after them. they would be looking up to them. So if they begin to compose as he did this year, they would be looking at that and they might tend to want to experiment and try to play some of those pieces. However, for somebody like Sion and Duvon and for their piece to be played by the big bands, that's a whole different story, because the big bands already steeped in their traditions. So that's one part of it. To get them to listen to the piece, to be interested in it, it has to have some little thing that would spark and somebody say, hey boy, here Sion tune, boy, I hear. And a buzz will start to go, and then people will begin to listen. So until you get a little buzz, it's going to be like, hey boy, Sion do a tune. Yeah. But then I'm going ready yet, man.
But Sion, you marketed that song?
But
you went to the bands?
Over time, it will happen. You have to keep at it. I mean, the first time Bugsy did a piece, I mean, he did it all through the years, and it took some time before it became accepted. Now it is fertile ground.
The good thing about nowadays, you see the internet carries you.
Yes,
right?
That's
and
another medium.
We put it on the internet, and we had a favorable response. We had like seven bands playing the song this year. It's very hard to hear pan tunes on the radio now. You don't hear pan tunes on the radio now.
Which is the other difficulty.
That's the other difficulty.
Yeah. So I mean, the internet now has stepped in, and the music is not just local, but it's all over the world. Everybody all over the world is listening to these songs. So I mean, the next thing is the big bands, their arrangers are composing tunes. So
like All Stars. Not really the arranger, a pan player.
Yes,
right.
So,
So and the tunes that they're arranging, it resembles the band itself. So you won't take yourself and go by All Stars and say, look, I want you to play my song. No, well, I would say, well, hey, I have a tune, take a listen. If it falls in within his style, he might
consider.
I've been told that we have a call on the line. Hello, good evening to you, caller.
Hello?
Yes, we have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, am I on live here?
Yes, you are. Go right ahead.
Right.
Make your contribution.
I want to ask a question, or it might be a comment, it might be a little controversial, but I find that we are losing a lot of the large bands, or we're not improving on the large bands. And the smaller bands are just multiplying, right? What do you all feel about eliminating either the medium or the small bands, or somehow get the small bands to join with the medium bands so they could make a large band, right? But the large bands are just disappearing. And, that is, and all right, I'm going to say something too. A lot of the small bands and some of the medium bands are just coming together on Panorama Time to play for the money, what do you call the money that they get just for participating, all right? And that's what they're there for. They don't care if they come first or last, right? No, I know we want to get a lot of people to play pan and a lot of people to participate. But in so doing, I feel we're mashing up the panorama with all these categories. And the large bands, we're not increasing. It's the same large bands, and hence, you're going to get the same set of bands either coming first, second, or third. We need more bands in the large category to make it more competitive. How we all feel about that?
Thank you very much for your call, Brian. That's down your alley.
Well, we're talking arrangers today, but I will venture into administration for a little bit. Firstly, a band is not just a band is a social unit. So to consider having a small band and a medium band joined, they may not, even though they might be in the same general community, they may not have the same thoughts about steel band and how it should go forward. So getting them together is not simply telling them to come together.
So why do you think the large bands are mashing up? That's what they call us.
I wouldn't say that they are mashing up.
We had a semi-finals with the same amount of bands making the finals. Nobody got eliminated.
No, we have had the entrance in the large categories has been constant. It's like 16 or 17 bands in the large categories. That's the large. I'm hearing that 1 or 2 bands intend to go into the large next year.
Hold it towards there. We have a call on the line. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Yes, good evening. Go ahead and make a contribution.
Hi, good evening. I know we're talking about arrangers and we're talking about the younger arrangers, but what I also notice is the age of the pan player itself. And that is you're finding a lot of younger players filling the bands. I would like to hear the panel discuss that, talk something about that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, let me switch quickly. Let me start by saying that pan really is a young people thing. When pan was invented, it's not old people that invented pan, it's young people. All the guys who were the inventors of pan, they invented it when they were in their teen and early 20s. So pan really is a young people thing. And I've seen through the years, from when I was a little guy before preteen, I would see teenagers playing. And then they got older. I started playing as a teenager. They were still in the band going up. I started to get involved, and then eventually, then my younger brothers and other young guys. So it's a process. It's a wheel. And you always have young people coming in. You always have the older people that would give them the little guidance and thing, and then eventually they grow out in terms of the band playing and so on.
But the school bands, they develop the bigger bands?
But the school bands is a different experience because whereas in my time, we learned by going into the pan yard and learning with the band, and from the time you're 13, 14, 15 years, you're playing with the band. Now the experience of learning pan is different. You learn it from even in primary school, and you have your school band that you play in primary school and then in secondary school, and if there's a band close to you, well, then you play with them, but you play in school, and your whole experience is different. You learn a lot of stuff that the kids learn now by the time they're in secondary school, we would not have learned it. So that augurs well. From where I sit, as I had to say in another forum, I am happy that the youth are taken to pan in the way that they have, because if we have played the music that we have played with the knowledge that we had, the knowledge that they have, they're going to carry it much further.
Of course, yeah.
And
they're developing even faster.
Yeah, and it will go places that I think we have not yet imagined.
Yeah.
So I
agree with that.
Yeah, I have no qualms about that at all. Young people would always come in and play pan and develop in different ways.
But in the earlier days, the young people never gravitated to pan because, your parents used to say there's a badge on thing, don't go in the pan yard, but that has evolved. Not anymore.
Okay, so right.
Not anymore.
Yeah. No. So it's not as in our day, like when my brother started to play, I didn't start to play yet, so when he come from practice 11 on the night, he come and he knock on the window, I had to open the window for him to jump. Next day, my father wanted to cut my tape. Then I started to go, so my younger brother had to be opening the window for 2 of us. And eventually he gave up, and it's 4 of us, and we were all playing. So it's good that the children don't have that kind of impediment towards learning and playing the pan. They go to the school, they learn. Early o'clock, they learn to play, they learn all the rudiments of music, they begin to learn the skills. And as they develop, the sky's the limit.
I think we have a call on the line. Hello, good evening to you.
Hello.
Yes, good evening to you, caller.
Hello, good evening. It's Marima. This question is for the young lady on the panel. It's really good to see a young lady on the panel. Miss Nisha Smith, I think.
Yes, it is.
I remember staying for the Junior Panorama, and kudos to her. She did extremely well. I want to find from her what it feels like as a female pan player, and probably an aspiring person as well. How is her experience as what problem she had in getting the whole birdsong? She said she played for birdsong. Was it difficult as a female person to bring this together?
Okay. Thank you for your question. I don't think there were any gender biases right? But with age, you could tell that the older heads were looking down at you. They were like overseers, even the parents, because I'm not too far off from the children that played in age. So even the parents, they wanted to give their 2 cents, and sometimes they wouldn't allow myself and the arrangers to tap into our creative potential. And so they were the struggles, but it was really a nice experience. It was a learning experience, and I will tell people that just stick to yourself, stick true to yourself, know what you're about with the pan and with the arranging, with your doing the drill master, with the managing, and everything will be fine. And we did well. This was our inaugural effort, the Birdsong Academy, and we placed 4th for the first time, and we were unsponsored, right? And it was completely managed by us.
Great stuff.
So.
Well, you're listening to, you're viewing Levy Talk on RTV4. What we're going to do, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Levy Talk on RTV4. And of course, we're streaming live. Don't forget, we're streaming live on www.facebook.com/RTV4 and also on gisltd.tt/TV-4. And of course, you can get interactive with us. You can give us a call on 675-8747 and 675-8749. So we're back inside, and of course, Nisha, what do you think are the trends and the patterns that you see are developing over the young folks in Pan?
I have to say it seems like the music comes second to the hustle with the young folk. I have to say it. It seems like that because I see where people, they come to the panyard, they have the crack shots. They come to the panyard once, twice, they get the song, they're gone. And then you see them again for prelims. They come and practice again, you see them for semifinals. And I think they need to realize that it is really the music that will carry us forward.
What do you think causing that?
Well, everybody is the money that they want.
A young person, that's the trend. The young person is now he's studying the money. So he plays with 4, 5, 6 different bands. Mm-hmm. And you're being shortchanged in some way, especially where rehearsals are going. See on you have that going on in your band?
It is happening. It is happening. At the same time, I mean, I cannot bash the pan player for wanting to make $1, all right? But like anything else, whatever we do has to be organized a certain way. And we need to find ways to develop the pan player financially. Because, I mean, the tuners making money, the arrangers making money, the bands, some of the bands making money through prizes, what have you. We can't really bash the player for wanting to make $1. However, we need to come up with strategies where we include the pan player in the pay packet.
We're speaking about the arrangers now. Mm-hmm. And we're not looking at the other people who make all the money. The pan tuners, where are the young pan tuners? Nisha, where are the young pan tuners?
They're probably still in school.
Brian?
No,
they're young pan tuners.
There are a lot of young people getting involved in tuning. I've gone to a few graduation classes. The thing about tuning is that it takes a while.
Yeah.
It takes a while to really become
for the person to develop. To
be a good tuner. It takes a while to really understand the metal, how it behaves, and how to really use it to get a note that is worth its salt, let's say. And tuners sometimes in the development, sometimes they get a C and they get an E, but the rest of the notes they can't get it. Over time, they're able to handle tuning properly. And then some tuners, they can tune lower pans, they can't tune tenors. So tuners are developing. And over time, tuners emerge. We have quite a few of them coming up, and there are quite a few even in the lower reaches, let's call it that.
But we only seen the Lloyd Gaze and the Herman Copy Browns. You've not seen.
They have quite a few more now. They have quite a few more now. Yeah, they have quite a few more now, and we continue to develop to do little things, do little courses, because normally all of them start with a little course. I mean, years ago.
These courses have been going on for how long?
A lot of years. Tuning is not my thing. I never was into the tuning. I can't handle the steel and steel metal. But I am aware that there were courses over the years, and people
have they developed?
They have developed. I know quite a few people who started 10, 12 years ago, couldn't tune a note. And they're not a top of the line tuner now, but they could do something. And as they go on, they will develop. It takes a little time, much longer than arranging.
So what would you think are some of the disadvantages? You're not seeing the young tuners' name on these big bands?
I think that's the thing, because what I know about tuning, that it's not standardized. Everybody has a little unique touch and a little unique way of how they will tune. And when that Panyard finds that tuner, they will want to keep him and always have that tuner. Well, not always, but most of the time have that tuner tune in their pants for them, especially for the occasions like Panorama, or if they're going away for occasion or for events. And to get a young tuner to say, well, try me, might be a bit difficult for it to have that smooth transition.
No, well, you see, the thing about tuning, your instrument is what speaks, When you do an instrument and it speaks to any band will say, okay, it have a little fella. I mean, I remember this and say, boy, it have a little fella named Darky down in Sealots, boy, tuning some nice tenor pan. Then all of a sudden, Darky can't make enough tenor pan, because Darky started to make good instruments, and it became in demand. So as you develop and your instrument begins to speak, people will purchase the instrument. If you start to make good guitar pans, you say, boy, that fella down there making some good guitar pan, you know who, let me go on here. Next thing you know, by next season or two, he can't make enough guitar pan.
So what about the older person who was there before?
What about him? He's there tuning, but there is always room
for a young tuner.
Always. Or if I had an affinity to tuning, I good, because there is always room for tuners.
And don't forget our viewers, you can give us a call right here on the discussion.
There's always a shortage of tuners.
Always a shortage.
Always a shortage. So anytime you could come up with a good instrument, you have work. I can't say the same for the arrangers. Good arrangers will come up. They may not necessarily have work.
You're satisfied with some of the tuners that you've been through it?
Yeah.
You call that shot. You say, well, look, the pan is sounding good.
No. I mean, I always had that I always had bands. Well, the bands that I work with always had good tuners.
Good tuners.
I mean, there are a lot of young, upcoming tuners who doing really good work. I mean, you have Andy Niels, you have Showin Fessapier, you have Ross Thomas, you have Augustus, you have a lot of them. Plenty of them, and they're doing good work, And the thing is, you cannot forget the Butch Kellmans and the Guppies. You can't forget these guys. I mean, these guys have paved the way, and they're still doing excellent work. I mean, awesome. When you hear the instruments, they're awesome.
Okay, we have a call on the line. Hello, good evening.
You hear me?
Yes, good evening. Go ahead. Make your contribution.
Right. I just came back here to live, but I lost touch on how they make the instrument. Do you have factories doing this now, or are they doing the traditional way? And do they have a marketing venue to sell pans internationally and so on and so on? Can you update me, please?
Brian?
Okay. The market for pans in Trinidad and Tobago right now mainly is with steel bands. So tuners align themselves with steel bands, and steel bands align themselves with tuners. Most of the tuners, at least the top of the line ones, they continue to make instruments because their market outside of Trinidad and Tobago, people would know their pans based on what they would have heard with the various bands when they come to Trinidad or online or however, so they make pans specifically for them. What Pan Trinbago is involving itself in even now is making sure that we have the raw material for the pan, which is the drum. No longer does a tuner have to go to a gas station or NP to buy a drum. Right? We are now producing drums specifically for the steel band. We just started that initiative, and that will go on when that is when we know we good and tight with that, and that is going down. We want to be the providers of drums for steel bands for the world, starting in Trinidad for the world. Then we will go on to do signature collections from particular tuners, a signature collection from Guppy, a signature select from Kelman, from Lloyd Gay. Then we could consider doing signature collection that somebody could come to our store and say, I want a Gay tenor, I want a Kelman second pan or whatever. But those things take time to develop, time and resources, and a will. So we may not have had the will before, but I know we have the will now, and we pull in the resources together to make sure that those things happen.
Good. We're almost coming to the end of, the program for this evening, and just see on your final words, closing comments.
Well, I mean, I'm all for as you were saying, the passing on the baton. I am one who, I don't think, as I was telling Nisha and Brian earlier, that we need to grow old to pass on the baton. I mean, I'm at a stage where I've gained a certain amount of experience and knowledge, and I will pass on what I have. You never know. Some youth might teach me something different tomorrow. I mean, it's like that, But at this stage of the game, the mindset is to boost the young ones because they are the tomorrow.
Nisha?
No, it's all good for the dissemination of information. Even though I am young, I still teach the younger ones, and they excel and they do well. So, it's always good to, understand the music and know what you're about and keep a strong head on your shoulders because there are some pan elders that'll be watching you.
Brian?
All right. Well, I am happy and comfortable with the youth's involvement in PAN. And as Sion said, they are gaining of experience, both from the arranging that we speak about today, from the tuners that I indicated, we have young tuners. I want to be sure, and I say it whenever I go to some of these graduations, I want people who have the passion for PAN, they want to learn to play, and I want some of them to have a little passion to administer it too. So I want the young people to come in here too, to take over, because I don't want to be here for very much longer. But I want them to have the passion to make sure that they want to see it go in the right way.
Well, folks, this brings us to the end of the program for this evening, Let We Talk. I want to thank my guests in studio. Thank you very much for enlightening and your time you took to come here. And of course, for all our viewers who looked at the program today, and for especially the folks who call. I am Winston Pointy Brown saying peace and love, and have a great evening.